Alright, what's going on, guys? How we doing today? I know it's been a little while. I haven't posted a PUBG video probably, I think, since Haven came out, and to be honest, I've just been uploading other things as of recently and playing different games, but I figured that when PUBG releases a very substantial update, I'm gonna go play it and check it out. I've been getting comments almost every single day for the past 6 months of people that say that they miss watching PUBG on my channel, or maybe that they haven't seen my videos in a long time because for one reason or another, maybe they stopped playing PUBG or I stopped uploading it for a little while, but also, as soon as I stopped uploading, I think the last time was Haven, and really PUBG didn't do anything new to their game, really. While I was gone, however, I really didn't feel like I missed too much from this game. There was a Miramar remaster that came out, but other than that, there wasn't anything that I felt like was of substance where I could make consistent content on it. One of the reasons I stopped uploading PUBG as frequently is because I didn't want to force content as much as possible that isn't there. It got to a point where it felt like I was almost running in circles with my own content, and I was really scraping the bottom of the barrel for what like PUBG had to offer, so I just started uploading other games that I liked playing, and that's going to be my philosophy going forward. And I wanted to check out this update because it was genuinely something that caught my interest, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about all of the changes that came to this, the new map, all of the new guns, and there's actually a lot to discuss. I'm glad I did because this update is genuinely worth checking out, and if you guys maybe haven't played PUBG in a while, I recommend you jump back in and give this a go, or if you are still playing PUBG, let me know. Also, if you guys are still playing the game, if you want to use my creator code, you can absolutely do that using the link in the description or on screen. It's a great way to support the channel using my creator code for your PUBG account. If you do, please do let me know in the comments. If you guys are interested in seeing PUBG again a little bit more frequently on this channel, then just show me by dropping a thumbs up. If you're like a returning viewer and maybe you haven't watched in a while, I'd love to hear from you guys down below in the comments what you think. But anyways, let's get started. So after not playing for months, what's new in PUBG? Well, you can kick the ball now. And that's it. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one. So PUBG's new map is called Taego. This is an 8x8, same size as Erangel and Miramar, and after playing it for a little while and getting some impressions on it, I've really come to the realization that Taego is basically a reverse Erangel. It's got a mainland area separated by a river to have another little island where like the military base would be on Erangel. It's got a middle section where there would be, you know, basically the school from Erangel, except this is a terminal with a like an adjacent Pachinki area, so it's very structurally the same. I mean that in a good way. It's not like a copy and paste of Erangel. It's like the same formula that works about that map, but recontextualized and remixed into this new beautiful version, by the way. Some of the more recent PUBG maps have kind of missed the mark visually for me. Like Miramar didn't really look all that different than the original, and Haven, I appreciate the fact that it's like at night and in a city, but to be honest, the visuals weren't really doing it for me. But Taego is absolutely beautiful. Besides some stunning visuals and other elements, Taego has a lot of different unique mechanics to offer, and I'm going to read exactly what PUBG has to say about these mechanics on their new map because they're pretty fascinating. It's something I never thought we'd see in PUBG. So they say Taego has diverse terrain and environments with numerous towns, compounds, and unique points of interest across the battlegrounds. Be on the lookout for wildlife with flocks of birds reacting to player movement and gunfire, giving you a potential early sign of danger ahead. Comeback BR and the Self AED are two new gameplay features exclusive to Taego, giving players a chance to get back into the fight. So there's two things to explain there. One of the things I noticed immediately on my first playthrough of this map was the wildlife. So basically there's two different like species of birds that can be around like in the forest or just, you know, near compounds, that when you run too close to them or if you shoot gunfire, you know, in the relative proximity, these birds will fly away and they're pretty visible. And just like the description says, you can use this to detect early movement or know when an enemy is ahead or just like in that general vicinity. It's kind of like the same mechanic as having the footprints stay around in the snow on Vikendi. It's the same concept. It might be one of those mechanics where most people just see the birds and don't even realize exactly what it indicates. It might take a little while for people to catch on, but other than that, it is pretty cool. It is still 100 players. As far as like weather goes, I'm pretty sure there's only one clear weather setting. I don't think there's a nighttime or anything. There's also no red zone, and that's a pretty big difference between something like the Legacy and the Classic maps, is they all have red zones, where as this, it might play better just simply not having it. I understood the purpose of it when they added the red zone from the beginning, but to be honest, it's a mechanic that I felt like could have used a second thought. The whole idea behind the red zone was to prevent people from camping a lot, but honestly, I think it ended up doing a little bit more harm than good in the grand scheme of things once the meta of this game developed a little bit. Red zone was one of those things that they just kept adding into future maps simply because it was in the map before, not because it actually fit into the map or the game they were developing. The first time they questioned that idea was in Karakin, and they added the black zone instead of the red zone, and that was cool because it was like destructible buildings, but I don't know if that panned out exactly how they wanted it to. I think it's just kind of cool that they removed the red zone entirely, however, in here. And I think the wildlife edition is definitely more of a unique mechanic than just having the red zone or even variants of that in future maps. I think that would be pretty cool to see them, you know, further extrapolate on that idea. So the other new mechanic is called Comeback BR, and I'm sure you know where this is going, but this is a thing that allows you to get back into the fight after dying early in the game. Now, it's obviously very heavily inspired by the Warzone Gulag. However, the differences here is that you can really only come back if you die within the first phase. Anything later, this does not happen. You have no chance of returning. This is a good compromise because in PUBG, sometimes it used to be like really annoying when you would die super early on and gotta watch your teammates play for like another 30 minutes when you can't do anything. Where in this, if you die, you know, in like mid game, you're still done for, and there's a lot of weight to dying, but it's not completely punishing if you die, if you just, you know, don't happen to find a gun or armor or something. That said, you do still have to fight for your spot back. It's not a guaranteed return, even if you die in the early game. You have to go to like a separate location, beat somebody else, and then you get returned to the battlefield. Worth noting that this is only exclusive to the Taego map as well. And speaking of exclusive, the self AED is a new mechanic that should have been added, I think, around a year ago, but they finally found a way to implement it properly. There is a self revive kit. The idea of this is pretty straightforward, obviously, but it has a really interesting mechanic, and this is the fact that this can be used in solo matches. Like, and the reason this is weird for PUBG, there's physically no way you can go down in a solo match. Like, obviously, if you knock somebody, you have to be in at least a duo or a squad game. That just doesn't exist in solo play. But now, if you're playing this map and you shoot somebody and they don't immediately die, you'll see on your kill feed that they go down. You know they have a self-revive kit, and they are likely using it. Whether in solo or squad, it is a pretty rare item, so don't expect everybody to have them from what it looks like. If you start self-reviving, you have to commit to it, and if you don't get the revive off, obviously you're dead, and then if it's early in the game, you'll get sent to the comeback BR thing. But nonetheless, being able to self-revive is pretty interesting. Now, there's also 2 new guns coming with this map, and usually PUBG doesn't release a gun with a map ever. You know, these are always in between, but they dropped 2 brand new ones, and they're both 5.56 rifles. The first one is called the K2. This is like an 80s, 90s era kind of rifle. You guys are seeing gameplay with this in the opening of the video, and it's basically like the equivalent of the AK, just in 5.56. You can really only attach a muzzle and also a magazine, literally nothing else. It is pretty good, but relatively hard to control. You can see some of the stats on screen right here, exactly how it performs. The K2 is a world spawn and may as well be the AK, just with like a faster bullet velocity. It's one of the biggest things that just eats that weapon up from being like super viable, is its bullets are just unbelievably slow. So the K2 might actually have a place in the meta. Also, there's a new weapon called the Mark 12 that's added in Taego, and this is again a 5.56 caliber DMR. You can see the stats on screen of how it performs. This one I did play with as well, and I actually like it a lot. It plays a bit like the QBU and the Mini 14. I don't think it does quite as much damage as the QBU, if I'm not mistaken, but it does feel like a pretty good rifle. You might ask, since the Mark 14 out of airdrops has a full auto and a single fire mode, does any of that, you know, match over to the Mark 12? Unfortunately, it doesn't. This only has a single fire. If this had a full auto, or hell, even a burst fire, which wouldn't be viable even in the least, it would be absolutely ludicrous. But other than that, it's a gun that can stand on its own 2 feet, and I highly recommend it. Also, a new vehicle called the Pony Coupe, and I played against this in my games while I was playing Taego, and not only does this just look cool, and it's a pretty fast car as well, one of the mechanics that is super underrated, the windows are super dark, and you can't really see the driver all that well. Of course, you can estimate where they're going to be and where to shoot if you're trying to take somebody out driving this, but really not having that precise visual makes a pretty big difference. Now, another thing is that backseat passengers cannot shoot out of the window because the way this is designed. Now, PUBG also nerfed drive-bys, or they significantly reworked them while I was gone. You can still do drive-bys with this vehicle, however, just not from the back seat. One of the biggest complaints with PUBG, even amongst veteran players and people that I saw all the time, is that the loot just on every single map was simply not enough. You know, and you can make that argument back and forth about whether it is or not, but this is the changes that they made. Generally, the item spawn increase beforehand, you could say, was at 100%. Now there's been some additional multipliers added to each map. So Erangel has had its loot increased by 23.9%, Miramar Sanmar had its loot increased by 28.3%, Sanhok had its loot increased by 16.5%, and then Vikendi had an increase of 28.4%, which is the most out of all of them. Word on Karakin, Paramo, or Haven, which I don't even know if are in the rotation anymore. I think most of us realize anyways, these four are kind of like, you know, the cornerstones of the game, and those other maps are sort of ones that just get rotated in and out, but they're not really mainstays. Taego definitely feels like it's a mainstay map, however. Again, it feels like a lot of the really good parts about Erangel just almost reworked. While I was gone, PUBG also added a new gun that I asked for like 2 years ago. I remember specifically asking devs, and I also made a video about it. Some of you may have seen it. I requested the Lynx sniper rifle, and they have added that into crates. It's the Lynx AMR. This doesn't take any ammunition at all. I know that sounds weird, but it basically comes with its own ammo. You have 5 bullets total, and that's it. It's not like an AWM where even you can replace that by finding like another drop. You get 5 and then you're done. I'm not sure if this is really a gun worth going after, but it's pretty interesting that it finally got added, and that makes me a little bit happy inside. Also a ton of like peripheral updates and just a huge amount of like performance and bug fixes. If you guys want to read the full patch notes, I will have those linked in the description, but in this video I just wanted to go over all of the major stuff and really just kind of talk about the game and where it's at right now. I can't lie, it was really nice revisiting this game again after some, you know, substantial changes came, and I don't know if I'm going to be uploading this again consistently, but I really do appreciate you guys who have, you know, just supported my PUBG content over the years, or even now. And I don't mean to get too deep here at the end, but those of you who have just like, you know, supported this content, and maybe you've been watching me play PUBG for a while, you all have literally changed my life. PUBG was a game that challenged me to create new and different content, and I don't think I would be where I am now without any of that, and especially any of you guys, more importantly. While I may not be playing PUBG as consistently as I used to be, I really hope that the content that I made over the years brought you guys even a fraction of the joy watching it that you guys brought to me supporting it. I just really hope that somebody was able to get something out of my videos, and support you guys show continually makes me want to be a better creator and just be the best version of myself that I can possibly be. This game will always be super special to me. Again, whether I'm playing it super consistently or not, I will literally never forget the opportunities and the people I've met because of this. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging, so I did want to, like, I feel like this explanation was kind of long overdue, but anyways, I really appreciate you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and thank you guys for watching once again. I'll see you all in the next one.